Welcome to the Wokest Warren, where we have the wokest discourse. Tonight, I'm going to talk about my favorite Ohioan, Tecumseh. Now, his name is supposedly pronounced Tecumseh in Shawnee, but I'm going to say Tecumseh because if I try to say Tecumseh, I'll mess it up, and then I'll be saying it two different ways, and it'll just be confusing. Anyway, Tecumseh was Shawnee, and he was born somewhere in Ohio. People, like some sources, the National Park Service says Pequot, but Wikipedia says probably near Chillicothe. It really wasn't like recorded. And those towns that existed, remember, they were burned down. The Indian towns that were in that part of Ohio. So where exactly it is, I'm sure a careful historian and archaeologist could find that location for you, but I'm not really worried about it. Anyway, Tecumseh is Ohioan, native Ohioan. And basically, there is no way that you can get out of saying that this is not a settler colonialist country. The United States government funded itself selling land out west. That was how they kept the government solvent. They didn't have income taxes back then. So they would sell land that, of course, they stole from Indians and use that money to fund the federal government. So they were never going to stop. It's like, I think most people understand that the white Americans were never going to stop going west. They just weren't. But I think that a lot of people don't understand that the reason is actually economic. That the incentives for people to move west for cheap land were greater than to say, nah, never mind, I'll just stay here in Boston and let the Indians have that land. No, they were not going to let the Indians have the land. So anyway, as the story goes, Tecumseh's parents had, like other Shawnee, moved down south to near Alabama when they had been driven out by white settlement. But at some point they decided, like, no, fuck that. We're going back. Like, you're not going to kick us out of Ohio. This is our country too. So they came back, had more kids, including Tecumseh and his younger brother, who was like a fuck up from like day one. Like, it is difficult to find a bigger fuck up in American history than Tecumseh's younger brother. Now, his name that he had before he became the prophet it started with an L, and I don't remember it. But he's better known by the name Tenskwatawa, that means the open door, which is, in the Shawnee language, that means you're a prophet. So the story is that he was an old drunk and nobody liked him, and he was an old drunk, acted like a drunk, didn't take care of his family, beat his wife, the whole 9 yards. And then one day, like, he fell over in the fire. He, like, passed out, and they thought he was dead. And so, like, when he woke up, it was like a near-death experience. he described having this vision. And part of the vision was that the the remaining Indian nations would join together to throw the white people off their land. And he started preaching this, and it was like really popular. And he got kind of famous. And his brother was like, hey, all right, he was like, let's like get an army of warriors together and fight the white people. And so he would travel around with his younger brother, and his younger brother would be like, and I see the visions. Oh, the brother, Tecumseh's brother, listen how fucked up this is. When he was a little kid, the story was that he was playing with a bow and arrow, and he put his own eye out. Like A Christmas Story. Literally, he put his own eye out. So that was part of his deal. Like, he couldn't hunt because he only had one eye. Which led him to becoming a drunkard and unemployed and all that. But anyway, after he woke up from his near-death experience, he didn't drink after that. He was like a changed person. But anyway, so Tecumseh puts this whole army together, and he like wins all these battles. Just like wins all the time. Wins all the battles. But it just seems like he can never get ahead, because there's these other chiefs that keep like selling off the land. Like some rando will be like, I'm the chief, and I'm going to sign this treaty with the white people and sell this land. And Tecumseh's like, bitch, that was not your land to sell. Like, you can't just call yourself the chief and say it's your land. That's not how this shit works. And it's not. It's not how it works. Anyway, so Tecumseh put together an army of all these different Indian nations from Ohio, like the Lenape and the Wyandot and the Shawnee and the I forget all the other names. Sorry. He was adding more and more nations to the Confederacy, like throughout his life. So it started off just the ones in Ohio, and then they started adding nations that were out west and down south. And people don't realize this, but where we live in Ohio, this could have been part of a pan-Indian nation state. No joke. Now, at the time, Warren would have still been considered in the... Anyway, his younger brother sucked through and through. I'm not even going to talk anymore about how bad the brother sucked. But Tecumseh was a great battlefield commander, and he won. He is said to have won every battle he fought in. Every battle. And he is especially favored by the British for taking over Fort Detroit. I guess that was a pretty big deal during the War of 1812. So yeah, Tecumseh allies this pan-Indian confederacy with the British with the deal that they're like, all right, well, when we win this war, like, we get everything to the west of Pennsylvania. Like, Kentucky, all of it. Like, we get all of it. And the British were like, yeah, sure, of course, whatever. Because, whatever, they're going to offer anything they can. Because they just lie and trick you later. So, of course, the British are like, yes. And the British never really cared about setting up a pan-Indian nation state in Ohio. So it didn't really happen. And the Americans, meaning like the white Americans, basically fought back the British and Tecumseh's forces with them, chased him all the way up to Canada, where he was killed in battle and died. So what does Tecumseh mean for Americans today, especially Ohioans? Well, Tecumseh's attitude was like, look, all they have to do to destroy us is pick us off piece by piece. And as long as they're picking us off piece by piece, they'll beat us every time. But if we can all of us join together, we can drive them out. We can take control of our land. Thanks for listening.